Cobber is Aussie slang for the word mate.
Okay.
So just the idea of that, peer
Mateship.
support, mateship. Yeah. So that's where the whole sort of idea come from.
Welcome to The Glass Ceiling, the podcast where business leaders share their stories, struggles and triumphs.
There is a lot in that. There's a lot of learning.
We sort of had different views on how the business should be ran.
The next 10 years looks like for South Australia.
Startup's the easiest.
I'm your host, Marissa Hankinson from Wavebreaker, and I'm passionate about amplifying their voices. Join me as we explore the highs and lows of innovation, entrepreneurship and leadership. From founders to CEOs, our guests will share their insights, experiences and advice on how to succeed and make a lasting impact. Get ready for inspiring conversations and valuable lessons. Let's shatter the glass ceiling, one story at a time.
Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Look no further than Next Workspace. Located on level 15, 45 Pirie Street, our incredible facilities offer everything you need to thrive, from comfortable workspaces to cutting-edge technology and amenities. Plus, our collaborative community will help you connect with like-minded professionals, share ideas and learn from each other's experiences. With flexible workspaces, meeting rooms and event spaces, you'll have everything you need to grow your business. And with our supportive community, you'll never be far from inspiration, motivation or a helping hand. At Next Workspace, we're more than just an office, we're a community for innovation and creativity. Join us today and watch your business soar. Next Workspace, empowering your success. Visit us at www.nextworkspace.au.
Hi, Roann. Thank you very much for being a guest on the Glass Ceiling podcast. Can I ask you to tell me your name in full and introduce your business?
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Roann, and I'm the founder, director, and CEO of Cobber Technologies.
So can you expand a little bit on what Cobber Technologies is?
Yeah, so Cobber Technologies, we are a software as a service at core, and we'd like to be known as a community platform. So we're focusing on the social enterprise sector for purpose, for profit. So just traditional normal commercial transaction, we facilitate for on-demand and scheduled deliveries of secondhand furniture. So when you buy wardrobe from Facebook or Gumtree and you can't pick it up, so think Uber, but for secondhand furniture. So we streamline the process for you. We remove the risk of fraud and things like that when organizing in C2C marketplaces. And and on the social impact side of it, we facilitate for an effective distribution of donations of furniture. So we're helping local government councils with the particular problem segment that I happen to have identified in my journey as well. When people dump furniture on the curbside, and what happens to that furniture, sometimes it doesn't get picked up, and then 3 weeks later it's still there and it gets rained on and
gets ruined.
It gets ruined and it goes to the landfill. And where we come in with the hope that people no longer have to do that, with the partnership of council communication, and frame it around donation and, just download this app. And then we've got our local independent contractor who will receive that job notification and pick up the furniture and take it to other social enterprise partners, either Salvos, Vinis, Second Chances, and so on.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a software company, so it's predominantly an app?
Correct. Yeah.
And did you design the app?
Yes. So I've designed the process of it all, but I did outsource the code to build it overseas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when did you launch the app?
We pivoted sort of 6 months ago, and then there's a few sort of experiments, and then stealth mode again, and then pivot again, sort of thing, because we find bits and pieces of problems here and there.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't a perfect,
these things
MVP.
evolve.
Yes. And officially, I'd say about a month ago, we've started getting customers and who's actually using the app. we're in market, and I'm really proud of that milestone.
Yeah. Don't worry about the fact that you went into stealth mode, because how many times you have to get an update on an app on your phone and things like that. Things are always changing.
Yes,
Roann.
and they don't like a daily change. Apple Store, for example, you gotta do it like a once a week, and you gotta just prioritize three things, and then do another sprint, a weekly sprint sort of thing. So,
oh gosh, must have learned a lot. So, did you have a background in software?
I had a computer engineering degree, circa late 90s. However, at the time, we didn't really have the apps yet. So
no, gosh, that's a bit scary, isn't it?
It was
that was the .com era, wasn't it?
Yes. So, and I've been just stay at home mom, so focused on raising the children, because would have been 15, 16, 17 years ago when I got married. When I got married, so I was working, when I came to Australia, I was 25 years old. So started working in retail, sales, and all that stuff. Yeah. I had a degree in computer engineering back in the Philippines, but it was the confidence in that, I think, that made me not apply for any
roles.
IT work. And especially, English is my second language as well, and foreign country and things like that. Yeah, so I just focused on sort of sales rather than in the tech industry. And then a few years late, 2 years later, I had a baby. So started a family and all that. And my now ex-husband at the time earned significant amount of earnings, money, and if I go to work, it wouldn't make sense. There's only like $400 left in my pay, because we're not sort of qualified for daycare.
Right. So you're Australian citizen now?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So
came over from the Philippines quite young, didn't really utilize your degree. What made you think to develop this app?
It was 9 or 8 years ago, I think. I've experienced a bit of a life change. So there was a bit of a sad domestic situation, and I left our rental property at the time, and we were homeless for a few weeks. And until I reach out to Migrant Women's Services, and then they put me on a temporary housing, and then now public housing. Since then, it was because I had to start over. The sourcing of secondhand furniture is what made sense to me. As someone single mom with the lower income, and it has constantly been a problem in terms of accessibility. So I don't drive, I don't have personal transport, yet alone hook up a trailer to a vehicle and things like that. And so it's constantly been my problem, and until in 2021, I came up with the idea just after COVID, and I thought, I wish there's some sort of Uber for this kind of situation, and then I had a light bulb moment at the time. And then I started doing some market research, and and then reached. I was so naive as well at the time, so I actually, an investor from SAVCF, Kristen, is one of the first people I've contacted. Say along the lines of, "Hey, I've got this great idea, and I want $5 million for it." But and she knew exactly what my journey is, and now that I'm in market and things like that. She knows what it is, but she can also understand. And whenever I see him, and I'm so proud of this story, just giggles. But
if you don't ask, you don't get.
That's right. And it was like in the beginning, you're kind of naive, but I think being naive can become a blessing as well.
So I want to go back. So you obviously were successful in getting funding for the app to be developed.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that process. So obviously you went in and asked for $5 million. That wasn't what you need to do. How did you get help? How did you get your pitch? And how did you actually secure funding in the end?
Yes. So I yeah, I had to go back and validate and interview a lot of people and make sure it was a real problem. And so ended up interviewing just below 500 people, and that confirmed that it's actually a real problem for many people. And I was studying law. I paused my law study, but then I've just re-enrolled, and I'm gonna be starting next semester. Just one topic, because I'm really passionate about advocating and community, and it's just my self-investment. Yeah, anyway, I tend to go here and there, so
It's okay.
Yeah. So at the time, I pitched my idea with a fellow law student who is also a business woman, and a single mom. She lives in New South Wales, and she's now a lawyer. So at the time, we're both law student. And then so she went to, before she make a decision, she went to her accountant to seek some financial advice. And she came back to me and said, oh, by the way, my accountant wanted to invest as well. And then her ex-husband as well wanted to invest. So I already had at the time financial forecast and things like that, and metrics and things like that. So that's what she validated to her accountant.
Yep.
And now that accountant is our company accountant and takes care of all our accounting stuff.
Great stuff.
So yeah, it's very lucky. I think that without her belief and recognizing the problem as well, because all I had was this storytelling about how important it is to me and how this is such a painful situation all the time whenever I source, and it just so happened that it was also her problem.
Yeah.
And so she paid a lot of money just to pick up one thing from Bunnings, and she could recognize that it's actually a real pain. It's just
because if you think about it, it's for people who are doing that are already in need. So to have the cost on top as well.
Yes. So to me, the accessibility aspect of it is really important for me. It just would be great to live in a world where secondhand furniture can be made accessible to everybody.
Yeah. So you mentioned that. So your friend who is a law student with you is Cobber in New South Wales or just in South Australia?
Just in South Australia at the moment, but towards that's the plan, to go national and internationalize as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that there's a council and stuff on board here. So I assume that, for a council, in addition to helping the community, for a council, it must be, less landfill, environmental, ticks a few boxes on there, cleans up their streets if the things are on, and it's been good for you. So who's come on board here in South Australia for that?
Yeah, so where I live in my local council is the City of Marin Council.
Yeah.
So I've been in touch with their economic development team, and I've been well supported, and they do support businesses that create some sort of impact, and that's a number one priority for the City of Marin Council, sustainability as well. So it's kind of like a perfect timing for me.
Good alignment.
Well. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So you mentioned it was purpose for profit. What does that mean?
For impact for profit, so we don't necessarily rely on as a non-profit cause for our business to, we can sustain ourselves as a profitable business. However, we could also include impact in it, and it's quite possible. That model is becoming more and more popular now with our net zero goals heading to 2050. Yeah, so on the impact side of it, we help in circular economy and accessibility for those in need, who needs either, for example, if you've been homeless and you need household furnishings to restart, a bed, dining table, that kind of stuff. And yeah, so that's where we come in. We facilitate, and the transport costs for that, we onboard ESG corporate partners who are looking to spend their carbon credits offset. So it's another sort of marketplace for them to sponsor.
So what does ESG stand for?
Environmental, social governance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how they're counteracting their carbon credits.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. So that model is I'm still working on refining it at the moment, and I'm getting, a lot of support as much as I can, like with Collab for Good, for example. I'm a part of that cohort, and a lovely, great organization. And in Adelaide Uni, I've actually put forward a masterclass idea around that as well. So so I've got a co-working space in Think Lab, and it's a supportive startup environment as well. It's designed to make you move on from the co-working space and
into your own sort of like identity, an entity, I should say.
Like a profitable business. Yeah. So it allows you to or propels you to grow in such a way that you no longer need a co-working space. You can now rent your own, office or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but while you're at this stage, so they provide, support, whatever it is, just
it's that entrepreneurial support, isn't it? Of, that innovation, entrepreneurial, and that's Think Lab. Yes. I think we know a few people involved in Think Lab as well, and it's a phenomenal facility for those that are inventing and innovation.
Absolutely. It's attached to their business school.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So if you were, so you mentioned that you've got some of the housing trust and SA Housing on board as well. So how are they on board?
Oh, no, I've got in touch with someone from Housing SA. It's just an idea at this stage.
Yeah.
So I'm always on the lookout for potential partners. So I've approached one person and just have a coffee with him at some stage, and I intend to build relationship with Housing SA.
Yeah.
So
that like community trust, public housing, those kind of bodies.
Yes. So usually what happens is when somebody has been forced into homelessness, there could be a caseworker that's advocating for that person, and then they try and find them, initially temporary housing, and then move on to a bit more permanent. But the process is there. They usually start new kind of thing, and have to start over with nothing. It was my experience 8 years ago, so I know exactly. The dining table I got was donated from, I don't even know which organization, but all I knew was I had a caseworker at the time who's been advocating and helping me.
And I'm sure you've had lots of family dinners around that dining room table.
Yes.
So a little bit of normality. So how many children do you have?
I've got a now 14-year-old daughter, and my son is now turning 12 in September.
Yeah. Okay. And all settled and happy and...
Yes. So getting a bit more independent, taking their own transportation, which I love as well. I think it's really important for kids to, feel safe, taking transport on their own. And and my... they're able to now make their own food, sandwiches. So it's like great.
Yeah. So if somebody was me, I get my iPhone out. Yeah. Can I download the Cobber app?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yep. Okay.
So it's just it gets you connected. Imagine if you were have you used an Uber before? Like yeah. So imagine like that. So it just instantly get you connected to nearby independent contractors with a suitable vehicle, either trailer, van, or just larger vehicle, who's also happy to get paid, and and you get your quote before you submit. You can take a photo, upload it to the app, and then the driver then see the photo of what they're picking up, the size and everything. And and they just accept it. And there's also a scheduling system there as well. There's a little calendar, so you want to organize it now and book it for next week kind of thing. And then the driver...
So it's a delivery pickup, like the logistics of the secondhand furniture, not necessarily featuring the secondhand furniture.
I'm glad you asked that because we actually have a second platform called Cobber Marketplace, .com.au that we call it the home. We want to be the leader of circular economy in Australia, making secondhand goods accessible, household furnishing, and that. And where we come in is we make it easier by connecting that platform to the delivery app. So
great. So if I was there and I wanted a wardrobe,
yes,
and I found the wardrobe on the Cobber Marketplace, I don't drive, I can't get it, I can then connect that
on the checkout. Yes,
yep.
On the checkout, and then you get connected to a local driver, and then that job gets sent out to the driver. Yeah.
Great stuff. Great.
Yeah. So
and it's not like this service isn't needed because, as you said, you did your research.
Mm-hmm.
So how many people have used it currently?
So we've got around 300 people who downloaded the app.
Yep.
We're still a bit sort of not doing a full-on marketing.
It was only a month. Give yourself,
yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah. I've just been utilizing my Facebook group. So I've got a free furniture group, Free Furniture Adelaide group by Cobber. So with the idea that it's my sort of initial target market where, they get this free furniture and they're unable to pick up. And I also do some sort of monthly draw on that group, which people love. And that's how I've been sort of building my traction as well. So they download the app, they share on their Facebook, and then in their network, they're sharing, and that. So it's just like a network effect kind of thing. And they love the draw. So last month, and that was the first draw that we've done. I've gave out a free Woolworths voucher. So it was initially a free delivery voucher. However, she's located somewhere in the mountains, and we don't have mountains in the hills. And we don't have drivers just yet in that area. So it was we converted it to a Woolworths voucher, and she's really grateful on that. And I thought, oh wow, this is kind of like a fun game. So this month it's a free movie ticket.
Okay. And if you think about it, the people that are using the service and things like that makes a big difference and makes a big impact.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the idea is to, grow the brand, the more people know about it sort of thing, and then get more drivers onboarded as well in each sort of region. Yeah.
So how could someone be recruited as a driver to help?
So at the moment, so we've got 15 drivers at the moment. So where I find them is I do sometimes a fake ad on AirTasker.
Don't tell anyone.
And then I contact them and ask them.
I think that's called headhunting, isn't it?
If they're interested. Well, the thing with AirTasker as well is that if I do a fake ad, within 10 minutes, there's like 5 people
and they're your future drivers.
Yes, responding to that ad. So Cobber is just like another platform for them. So gig workers or independent contractors, they usually use different platforms, High Pages, AirTasker, and
just a multitude.
Yeah, so Cobber is just another platform for them.
So that's COBBER.
Yeah. So Cobber is Aussie slang for the word mate.
Okay.
So just the idea of that, peer
Mateship.
support, mateship. Yeah. So that's where the whole sort of idea come from.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
So you have obviously been on this journey for a while. So 2021, did you say?
Yeah. So from ideation, idea to market entry. So.
And you've obviously had the support of ThinkLab. But how have you found being in business for yourself?
Great. No, I wouldn't change it for the world. And I think I'm destined to be an entrepreneur, I think, because I have a lot of idea around. So whenever I go or come across problem, I straight away think whether there could be a market around that problem.
Yeah.
So it's really like sometimes I have giggles. So for example, when I drop leaflets in mailboxes, I sometimes I wish that there's more of me that will do it. Oh my God, look at these suburbs. Just imagine how many other suburbs out there. I wish there's more me. So that there is a problem. And what's funny about that is I thought of a low-cost solution for that problem for my next idea.
So everything that you look at that's a problem has got a solution.
A solution, yeah. So I guess I'm a kind of like a problem solver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's next for Cobber, or is it a new idea that you're going to be working on?
Definitely focusing on Cobber. So I want to get it off the ground. So I want to, like, I'm highly ambitious when it comes to the vision. So currently also working on a B2B retail partnership that's big in Australia. And I want to be able to leverage that. You know, it could be a clear entry to internationalization as well via them. So
what do your son and daughter think about their entrepreneur mum?
I don't know, honestly. I was featured at a magazine in Boundless, in the innovation district in South Australia. That's their first issue, and my daughter actually brought the magazine to her school.
Oh,
so
she's proud.
Yeah, she's proud, and then she's showed it to her SSO, and and so I didn't even know that she did that. But yeah, for me, I think it's just just to set an example for my kids that they too can achieve anything, that they put their mind into.
So when you talked about, yes, you had your computer engineering degree, etc., how did you get matched with a coder overseas to help with your app being developed?
I went into a freelancing platform that's based in Australia. I made sure that, I own all of the IP and everything, and it's all a part of the platform as well. So when before you engage them, start a contract sort of thing, there's an agreement in the beginning. And I think it's very important for all founders or first-time female founders out there who, don't know sort of what to do. That's the very first thing, because we have a funny sort of IP law in Australia. Unless you've established that in the beginning, if it's not clear, it could mean that they own the IP and not you, sort of thing. So freelancer.com.
Like typical Australian, not a very inventive name. It says what it does on the tin.
Freelancer.com, yeah. So, I found them there, and then I've just developed relationship. It was scary in the beginning because
I bet it was.
Oh my God, what if this and that? But they've proven their value and worth, and so I've managed to just pull it off as lean as possible and as cost effective as possible. Just bring to market an MVP that's usable, and but it's also I'm also made sure that it's scalable as well. So I've leveraged other people's expertise. That's what I've been doing, really. Just leveraging, reaching out to people, leveraging their expertise. That's been my journey. And it's people have been using the app, and I'm really happy. But before it got to that stage, there's a lot of post-development as well that my now CTO or tech lead is helping me. So I have a tech lead here in Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the size of the team at the moment?
I'm not paying anyone per se as a wage for the definition of employer sort of thing. So
going all lawyer now.
I engage my CTO as a contractor, but also with small equity vested equity. So he's been working with me for over a year now, and also working. So I've just been so lucky with finding the right people. So I've got my tech lead, Bryson. I've got 2 volunteers. So one for in the business support volunteering role, and then one in sustainability advisor. And so my team in Pakistan as well. So I just engage them per sprint sort of thing. So we do like a little like a project, and it's gonna be finished in like 2 or 3 weeks, for example. So that's our 3-week sprint. So, and I pay them per project sort of thing.
And then that's what gets uploaded to Apple or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then my CTO acts like a project manager as well and make sure everything, they're like doing the right thing, everything is on the right places sort of thing. And takes care of our in-house security infrastructure as well.
Yeah.
And I've got 2 volunteer software engineers as well. So yes,
Yeah.
I don't use them as much, but whenever sort of there's a little sort of project that they're happy to help with. So that's the idea. They want to be able to add value sort of thing. Well, hopefully be able to reach to a point where I could actually hire them.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
So if you were going to give advice to anybody starting out in business, or if they had an idea, what would you tell them?
Just go for it. So I'd say none of us are getting out of here alive. That's my...
That's definitely a fact.
You might as well do it. And you don't have to start, grand. You don't have to start perfect. And you'll find that in your journey, you'll actually learn a lot as well. And that can become a part of your growth as well. And it will teach you a lot. You'll grow personally and professionally. And, start it, even if it's just an idea, start a business, register it, call yourself a CEO. Because that's what I did. I'm so inexperienced in the beginning. Called myself a CEO on LinkedIn, and guess what happens? All the mini sort of goal that I did through my journey, it all sort of directs to the identity.
Yeah.
So I call it identity capital. So you can capitalize on your identity, whatever it is, whether it's a problem. Yeah, call yourself a CEO, and then your mini goals that can become your anchor, sort of thing. You want to be a CEO sort of thing. So all of like mini goals aligns back to that. Yeah. And then guess what? A year later, oh my God, you're an actual CEO.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So if this is a podcast, you said this is your 3rd podcast that you've been on. You're regular now. You're an expert. So do you listen to podcasts? I know you said you're going to go and study law, but is there anything that you do besides working at Think Lab for growth? Is there anything that you do to continue to learn?
Yes, I do love listening to podcasts. Yes, for the like a startup. But what I do is I like on my walk, because sometimes it gets so busy and just there's not enough time. But when you go for walks, or in my case, I take transportation to work. So just take the tram. So all in all, I have 40 minutes. So I just utilize that as well to listen to podcasts. And I listen to the startup podcast, one of them, by Yaniv, and it's quite practical. He gives a lot of practical sort of advice. And the other one is the Bootstrap as well. So for founders who are bootstrapping, a lot of practical sort of...
Just that practical advice that you can apply every day.
Absolutely, 100%. And so also to sort of help you avoid mistakes in the beginning. Claim Your Power by Kim Peretz. So that one there is for, I think, about mental health, about femininity, embracing your, feminine power, loving yourself, self-love, mindset. So for example, this one, stop wearing your pain as a badge of honor, victim versus growth mindset. Okay. So that's a great one, isn't it?
So you're a female in the tech space.
Yeah.
Have you come across any negativity?
I tend to get overlooked, definitely. And I remember in the very beginning of my journey, I had at the time a co-founder, but we're still friends, but we're not sort of, I now am the majority solo founder, female founder as well in tech. So in that meeting, the other person hasn't looked at me for the last 20 minutes. And I was just there and I was just thinking, oh, excuse me, I'm the business owner.
Yeah, it's your idea.
So anyway, things like that. Yeah, the way sort of women tend to get underestimated, I suppose. But then I kind of like being underestimated as a personal brand. I kind of, because
you're like the underdog achieving anyway.
Yeah. So, and at the same time as well in business, those who underestimate you, you kind of filter out the ones who you wanna do business with.
Yep.
So if they have that sort of attitude in the beginning, maybe it's not a good idea to do business with them.
Yeah.
So it's a great sort of filtering out. So.
Roann, thank you so much for coming on The Glass Ceiling. It was good to hear about your story and what you're achieving. Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Glass Ceiling. If you've liked what you heard, please subscribe, as we'd love to have you as part of our community. We're grateful to our guests for sharing their inspiring stories and insights with us, and to our sponsors in making this podcast possible. This podcast was brought to you by Wavebreaker. Join us next time as we shatter the glass ceiling, one story at a time.